Good morning, traders. Just a moment. Started. All right, good morning, traders, and welcome to the webinar, the All Markets webinar. Today, we'll go through the order flow of any of the markets you guys want to take a look at. Just let me know. We typically start with the S&P E-mini, and then it can go anywhere, but many times it just ends with the S&P E-mini. Anyway, my name is Bruce. I'll be your host. We'll go through the order flow using Bookmap and a variety of tools today. General disclosure, all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure, trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, good morning, everybody. Stan, Rob, Steven, Dan, and then over on YouTube, I believe you guys can hear me correctly. Let's take a look here. I believe you guys can hear. Yeah, okay, we're all good. So let's move on and jump into the markets here. What do we see immediately? Well, we can see strong momentum move here this morning and to the upside. The 9:30 cash open right here. Look at the volume coming in. We see a bit of a pullback and then continuation. And look where it went. Okay, high liquidity here, high liquidity here, and a little bit in here too. Just what I want to note here is note where it's pausing. Okay, after trading through here, there's a bit of a pause. Breaks out again, comes back up into high liquidity, pulls back a little bit. Okay, now look at the liquidity up in here. It's massive. There's a massive wall. You can see hundreds of orders up here. These are sellers, limit sell orders above the market, and this is where they're willing to sell to buyers. As simple as that. And then we can understand as well this momentum move to the upside. This is critical to understand in order flow. Okay, now it's this context between these limit orders here and this momentum move to the upside. Kind of an interesting one, very strong as usual at the open. And then not so much buying up here, which is kind of odd, but it pulls back. And then look at the jump here from here at is kind of 48.12 and a half on up. It jumps through that area with a lot of buyers. So we're looking for the next level of liquidity. It traded into that. It pulls back. We see buyers again. We're looking for the next level of liquidity, which would be up in here at that point, right? We would look for that test up into here. Well, we see something different now up here. Do we see the buyers up in here? No. Okay, so we're not seeing, although it's still going up a bit, it's not going up like it did over here, okay, or here, or here. Can you guys see that distinction? Right, so let me get out the pen tool, and I just want to cover this because for momentum, this is really critical to understand. If you can get a handle on momentum and trading styles with momentum, it can be one of the easiest ways to trade. It's very simple to identify strong moves, right? And start to understand like who's in control in some of these moves. Okay, it's buyers. Now look at this one up in here. And note this is, look at the angle here as well. Let me clear this. Okay, look at the angle here, the angle here and here. And then see how it's starting to wane here? It's just not the same. And then do we see buyers up here? No, we don't. Okay, so a retest back to, I would say here would be the first one, and we actually get it right in front of us here. These red dots trading to the top of this range and kind of where this little move to the upside started. You get sellers below it. We're looking for the next swing or area down here. And you can see it goes right to it, actually goes below it and trades into this little range in here. And now, this was low enough to find buyers, right? So it's a pullback. And then we see the buying starting to come back in. Now, interesting thing here in terms of our market structure. How does it look over here? Well, buyers look pretty good. Let me clear these drawings again. Buyers look pretty good. It's pretty strong here. But we're still not seeing the buying consistent all the way through, like here. And then this is odd up here, like we mentioned. And then in here, we can see it's not consistently buying. They're not consistently buying up here, nor really up in here too. It kind of wanes again. And we don't get enough buyers to take it higher. Okay? We're starting to see sellers come in. They take the market back down. All right. So now the selling looks pretty strong and consistent here. So maybe we're getting a small pullback right now, but I would look for another test down here by sellers. So we'll zoom in here in just a second and take a look. Now, guys, I just wanted to cover the order flow off the bat here. I mean, there's a lot more things to look at. And you know, we should probably start with some of the higher time frame stuff after these huge moves we saw the other day. And then we can see today, for example, the move, well, yesterday, the move back up, and then the gap up today. And we're trying to reach back up in here, trying to find buyers, starting to wane. And you can see it here on the 15-minute and also, well, not really on the hourly. There's still green candles here. So it looks like there's still a bit of buying pressure to maybe retest back up into these highs here. Okay. All right. So let me see. Is gold a sell or a buy? I don't know. I don't have it up. We might be able to go over it later, Bardia. I'm sorry. I closed it because we had questions on the 6E, the 6J, and then also the NQ. I wanted to show some market pulse, and I also wanted to go over the Trader Map Pro features as well. Okay, so a lot of different things in here people were asking me, so we'll try to get to maybe gold a little bit later. Okay. All right, let's start off immediately in here. Stan was asking about the 6J and the 6E over in our Discord chat. You might, if you guys are interested in that, you'll find it over here at the All Markets Bruce chat room, and we'll go through anything that you guys have questions on. Also, we're monitoring the Bookmap Academy chat room as well. And replying in there, okay? Because for those of you who don't know, we are gonna have another end of year a meeting for the Bookmap Junior Academy. It'll be next Thursday, the 28th, at the market close. All right, so just so you know. All right, so let me, Stan, thanks for your patience. Let's take a look here. Now, let's compare. Look at the S&P E-mini and look at the heat map and the market structure in here, where they're providing liquidity, the context between the liquidity. Next Thursday, the 28th, Stephen, at market close, right? Yep. So guys, get your content going. I already see Rob is creating some content for the event. But fill out your spreadsheets. Make sure you guys get credit for these things. It's really important. The part of the Bookmap Academy and Junior Academy, well, first off, you applied the Academy. And then secondly, if you get accepted into the Junior Academy, then you need to do, it's a testing ground. Okay, first you need to show that I have something to say. Here's my content. I'm showing some value here. We will accept you into the Bookmap Junior Academy, and then you have a month to make one piece of content per day, and that's it. And if you do a good job, it's high quality content, we will invite you to the Bookmap Academy, and you can get Bookmap for free. Okay. The next step after that is to be a coach, and then to help those in the Bookmap Junior Academy. The next step after that is to become a streamer. We have Moby, Doug, and Tom from the Bookmap Academy that are all streamers now. So it's a pathway for you guys to become much better traders. So we're going to talk about that in a little more depth on next Thursday. Okay. All right. So let's go back into the order flow and the market structure here with the S&P. Okay, take a look at this chart here. Now we're going to jump over to the 6E, okay, the euro dollar. This is the chart that I have, right? It's pretty messy in here. There's liquidity all over the place. And note these striations in here. Okay, so every single, well, it depends, but it used to be every other tick. There was a lot of liquidity. Now it's like every 4 ticks, there's a lot of liquidity. Okay, now these are larger players. Okay, every 4 ticks are able to kind of layer into a position and provide liquidity at those levels. And that's why you see the heat map looking like it does. Okay, now there's ways to filter for this heat map. One of the simplest ways is right click on the heat map and go to heat map settings. And we're going to adjust the lower and upper cutoffs. Okay, this will cut out a significant amount of noise or liquidity that doesn't make it through the filter. Okay, so now we can see a little more clarity in here. High liquidity in here, as it's going up into these areas. They don't get filled here. We get a pullback, and we see high liquidity on the bid here. We finally do see that fill up into this area here, and it's just going sideways at the moment. All right, so that's one way. And you can see these striations again. Okay, every point or so, every full point here is what it looks like. Anyway, just note that behavior in here. Okay, now we'll come back to this one in just a minute, and let's jump over to the 6J. Look how distinctive it is here. Okay, Stan has been creating some content and trading the 6J recently, and for good reason, with the interest rates and all these things going on. This is a great instrument to trade. All right, so now these striations, again, these are larger players. They'll come in and start providing liquidity at these price levels. Okay? And in this case, it's every 4 ticks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there's 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, it again and again and again, right? Okay, this is pretty typical. Now, the way that these markets are used, they're heavily hedged and arbitraged. Okay, this is how these actually, the futures markets were derived for exactly this process. Okay, so and you can see the players using this, using these markets like this. Okay, so that's one of the big reasons in here. Now, how do you read this though? Well, I'll be honest, like it's kind of hard to read this 6J. There are some distinctions. Okay, we can also filter the heat map in here the same way we did with euro dollar, and start to see some details in here. It's pretty difficult though. You see, if I zoom here, you can see higher liquidity up in these areas up in here, and we don't really see much else. These little traces of maybe higher liquidity in here. If I zoom in a little bit more, we'll probably see it, you know, where it's kind of orange and red in here. Now, this is going to segue into a discussion of Trader Map Pro that Crash was asking about. Well, not asking about, he was showing how he deals with it And then I wanted to show you guys this. Start with these currencies, and then we'll go into Trader Map Pro and filtering for the NQ. All right, so anyway, that would be my first suggestion, is to start to understand the high liquidity by the heat map settings in here, and see if you can make more sense of it. Okay, because here, you can see it kind of lighting up down here, right here, right where it's trading. Well, that makes sense. There's a swing here where it bounced, and we found more buyers. Okay, so now again, it comes down to context in here. Same processes. Did these guys stay in the book? No, they didn't. They pulled. Okay, there's more liquidity now at a lower level on the offer. Right now, you see this behavior again. See how they pulled here as well in the bid. You see this behavior a lot though. So is now the reaction of the aggressors is what we want to read and understand. Okay, because a lot of times you'll see this high liquidity just trying to push that market down lower. And then nonetheless, we find buyers, and they will go after this liquidity up here, even though it's been pulled down here. Now, it depends. It depends on the context. Again, we might get a bunch of sellers in here at this lower swing right here. If we do, the likelihood of coming down here is much higher into this liquidity down in these areas here. All right, so that's that. Here comes a read. See this larger player right here in the 6J. The large lot tracker shows that more than 3/4 of this is one individual actor that is providing this high liquidity in here of 343 contracts. And note how they just pulled away from the market. Okay, now spoofing, non-spoofing, whatever, doesn't matter. This gives us insight. A lot of times larger players, I mean, they're testing the supply and the demand by adding more in. How does the market react to it? Is it ready to turn around at this point? Are we finding buyers? Well, what a great way to do that, by throwing liquidity in here and then pulling it. Okay, so these markets are always being tested and seeing how they react to high liquidity. That's how you can use this, I feel, in understanding how to use liquidity that might be a little harder to read in the 6E or the 6J. All right, that's just one example. Another one I wanted to cover was on the 6E. This is actually pretty good. We saw this earlier. This high liquidity stays in the book. Now, what I have noted, and is just my personal insights. So please take it as a grain of salt. But what I have noted is in the past, and this was some years ago, the high liquidity, even if it pulls like up in here, right up in here, starts to pull away. Even if it does, a lot of times this is as far as it goes. The buyers could take it and break out and go higher. Most of the time, what I have noticed, and I haven't studied it to any sort of strategy or any sort of trading edge, but you can note these areas in here, and they typically will be a pivot for price, regardless if they pull or add. Okay, so it is pretty typical. So down here, to see it kind of rotate back up, and then I would say the next one would be down here if we see it kind of rotate back up. But we got to get our sellers in here first. Okay, next area for a rotation would be up here, right? Even if they pull. Now just make sure it kind of aligns with the structure. This is what I've found, Stan. I hope it helps you. We'll come back and take a look at maybe Trader Map Pro in just a minute. So let's see. Okay, thanks, Jack. Yeah. Answer the question about one final meeting in 2023. Excellent. Yes. Guys, get your content in. It's going to be a shorter meeting than before. We were going way too long, okay? And we're going to try to do them weekly in 2024, so you guys can get some good feedback. All right, we'll make them a little shorter, but we'll have them weekly. Okay, so that brings up a whole nother question, and I don't know if Crash is in here or not, but we will. I want to go over the Trader Map Pro because it's similar to what we're talking about here. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. Okay, look at the NASDAQ liquidity in here. Now this has been happening for quite a while. How helpful is this? It's hard to read, right? These are algos that are kind of shadowing price here, but a distance away from the current price. And this is what I was kind of talking about, the euro dollar. Like, note the liquidity up in these levels up in here. Okay, although it keeps on adding and pulling, look for like a test back up into here and then a potential rotation up into these areas. Okay, this actually demonstrates it better than that euro dollar or dollar yen, or yen dollar, I should say, right? But yeah, there's areas in here of liquidity, and you'll see a test down here, and usually kind of a move away then at that point. So here come the buyers. Let's see if this holds true. Okay, it would be this level right up here. Okay, around this 17,024 or so, something like that. Okay, the other one's down here at the 1707, 007. All right. And that's where we would look for, even if they pull, we'll look for it. See how it kind of came back up into this little area there and pulled back. Then this area here didn't quite make it to it. Anyway, something to note. Now, this makes things hard to read in here. This is high liquidity, but it's short-term high liquidity. And the players in here are staying away from the market until they want to trade. Okay, at a certain point, they will not move away or chase the market. We can demo this with our chase and escape algos. I've done it before in the past, and I'll save you guys. But unless you guys want to take a look at it, we'll go over it. So here's our move down here. Right now, we're looking to see if we get a little bit of bounce out of that area because of the previous liquidity. Okay, so nothing yet. A lot of selling pushing the market. So it looks like sellers are trying to move it, and we'd look for the move down into 1700 or 17,000 here. Okay, looks like they're moving the market, right? So we would look for that continuation now. If there weren't heavy sellers in here, we would look for that move back in. Okay, well, it's doing it anyway, but note how it's doing it. Okay, it's almost equal buying that moved it right back up into here. So we don't know if that's going to happen or not, right? But look at the bars, look at the size of the dots and the color. Okay, heavy selling brought it down, heavy buying brought it back. Now we're coming back in. Okay, and note how it went up to this little area here, which kind of matches over. Now, is that coincidence or not? I don't know. It's just more of kind of ranges in here, and it seemed the market knows that it typically finds sellers and supply up in those areas. Not sure. However, what I want to show here is how we can filter that out using the Trader Map Pro tool that's part of the MBO bundle. Okay, we added that in there for free in that MBO bundle. Now, I created one already, and I'll go over the settings here in a minute, how to filter for it. This is the result. It's here. Okay, so we filtered away all of that. You don't see that activity now as much. You see high liquidity that's staying in the order book in here and in here. Okay, and in here as well. Okay, and this is the same instrument. It's just a filtered heat map. Okay, so that should be helpful. High liquidity staying in these areas in here, also here. Now, it just traded through an area, high liquidity in here. And now they're on the offer here at this kind of 16 level. Do we transact into it? Do we find buyers? And then maybe we can look for a fade back down to 17,000. Okay, so anyway, pretty big distinction between this chart and this chart. Okay, and that's all done through filtering the liquidity heat map in here. All right, so I'm going to close this symbol and I'll reopen it again. Okay, so we can understand how to generate this this trader map. All right, so and then we'll try it out over on the 6E and the 6J as well. Okay, so here we are in the NQ. Let's open it up. Let's open up trader map here, and then I actually have the settings here. We'll recreate it here, but not changed and by price or size, and then a filter here of no longer than 2 minutes. Okay, that exists longer than 2 minutes. Okay, so let's delete this one for now, and we'll recreate it here. All right, so here we have the NQ. We can give it a name. Let's add in a filter. Okay, we're going to add in the duration filter here. Okay, and we're going to put in those 2 minutes in here. Right? That worked pretty well for us. Okay, so show orders that exist longer than 2 minutes. See these orders in here? They're not existing longer than 2 minutes. They're adding and pulling like every few seconds basically. So that will filter out these orders. Okay, unless they stay in the order book like up here. Right? So let's add that filter in immediately and let's just see what that looks like. Okay, so it opens up a new symbol. A completely new symbol. Here's our old symbol here, okay, or the regular heat map, and here's our filtered symbol. Note the symbol name here, order duration filter, and then it says @tradermap.pro, TM Pro. Okay, maybe this is enough for you guys. Not bad, right? Looks pretty good. High liquidity up here, and high liquidity down in these areas here. Okay, maybe that's enough for you. Just going with the order duration. Okay, there's other ways to do this too. I want to show that filter because it's pretty powerful. Now, we were looking earlier at this liquidity transacting and then looking for a fade. Well, look what happened. Okay, this is our pivot point. We see these all the time where we see the break, the drop down, the pullback, the continuation move, and then we see a reversal starting to take place here. Okay, buyers, we would assume that if we come back up here looking for a fade back down and maybe into the 17,000, well, buyers took it through instead and then now traded the other side of this range here, okay, and they're buying again. So we'd look for a continuation move now. Okay, look at all that buying. Okay, so looking for buyers to lift it to the next level, 170.40 or maybe 50. Okay. We can also look at measured moves in here that may do the trick. So for example, this range in here, we can duplicate it and we can move it back up. Okay, just understanding and matching up potential moves. A half of the move would be up to the top of the range. Okay, our 170.40 and our 170.50. Liquidity up in here would be a full move. And so, or a little less than a full move, I should say. Right, so that's it. So that's just adding the duration of the order. That might be enough for you guys. It's up to you. Let's go back and I want to show the other one though here with Trader Map Pro. We'll add a new one. Okay, and we're going to select the same thing here, NASDAQ. Okay, and we're going to add in a study, a filter, and we're going to go again with duration. Okay, and let's let's put in 2 minutes again, but we're going to add something more. Okay, we're going to go into the order change filter here. Okay, actually, hold on. Let me delete this one because we've already done that one for the duration. Let's just add the filter for order change. Okay, and then let's see what that looks like, and maybe we'll add the duration as well. Okay, so we're going to look at here, and we're going to filter our heat map to show only orders that were, and then we're going to select not changed. Okay, what that means is that, see these orders in here that continually change in here by price or by size, they will be filtered out. Okay, so let's click on play, and it opens up a new symbol here, and let's go check it out. Okay, here we go. It's just loading it. There we go. Okay, see how that filtered out as well. All of that noise. This is the NASDAQ. That noise is gone now. Right? You might see little traces of it here and there, a little bit. Yeah, this is another really highly effective filter. Let's go back. Here's our regular NASDAQ heat map. Here is our heat map by order duration filtered. And then here is our NASDAQ filtered by the orders that were not changed. Okay, so all of that noise is filtered out. All right, so you can add multiple filters to one trader map as well. Okay, these two are pretty good. Let's add one more though, and we'll come back into, we got to go back to the original instrument, and let's go back, and we're going to create a new one. We're going to add it just for the NASDAQ. We're going to add another one, filter, order change filter. Okay, not changed. That looks good. Let's add another filter in here. Okay, we're going to add multiple filters to this one instrument, and then it's going to be the order duration filter. Okay, so order duration is now here, and then we'll go back to, let's just say 2 minutes, and we'll click play. Okay, we'll close this. Now we have 1, 2, 3 trader maps open. Okay, and this one now is a combination of these two here. And we'll wait for that to load. Oh, nice. Look at that. Slowdown's already demoing it. He's got an image in here. We'll go over it in just a second. Okay, so guys, this is what this heat map looks like. Now, look at it in here too. I don't have it. I will show it here. Look at the spread. The spread's huge now. Okay, because it's filtering the heat map. That means it's filtering the level 1 too. Level 1 as well, okay, as well as level 2. Okay, level 1 is just best bid and offer. So best bid and offer is now filtered too, and it's showing that. Okay, so it's not an error. It's just showing how much is filtering. Okay, and that's why it's dark in here as well, between these areas in here. Okay, because we filtered out all of that liquidity. Right, so the other ones, you see it didn't filter all of that noise out, or all of that out. Okay, the one that was on the change, the order change filter, and then not change filter actually, and then the other one here, which was on order duration filter. Okay, ODF, OCF, and then this one is both. All right, this one's multiple. All right, let's see what do you got here. I spoiled your work. I'm sorry, slow down. It looks like you've been playing around with it. This was from yesterday, I guess, huh? Is that what you said? Um, or is this today? Well, it doesn't matter. Um, let's take a look. And you got your spring in here. Oh, look at this. I just love you. Just for yourself, hitting home again and again. This is what I'm looking for. It's here it is in the diagram. This is what I'm looking for. Here it is in real price here. This is where I'm looking for it to go below the swing. This is where I'm looking to enter. And you're identifying it right on the chart. And you say also, here's the top of the range is your target. This is beautiful. It doesn't get much prettier. Okay, right to it. And look at how your target high liquidity in here as well. It's a beautiful place to take some profit. Okay? We don't know what's going to happen after this. Reduce the risk up here. Now, if you get a pullback and you see more coming in on the buy side after like a shallow pullback, maybe you have a flag pattern, maybe you have some sort of continuation pattern. You can look for a move back up to that top of the range, and it's up to you if you want to reduce risk or even add risk if it looks really good. So you'd be out one contract here, or maybe all out. You would get in another contract here, or maybe re-enter the market. You might consider getting out some up here, depending on the order flow and the transactions, or you might even consider holding it, or you might even consider adding even more here if it looks really good. Why not? As long as you can manage the risk, the reward to something like that is tremendous. If the market participants are telling you something, okay? So trying to keep it simple as well for the trade management. Guys, we're going to go through more of that in the near future. All right, so great stuff. Slow down. I love it. All right, now here you take your profit. Look at this, because you just don't know. Right, so and look at that heavy selling coming back in. Okay, we were looking for the move to the top, then the potential breakout into 40. Top of this range, and then also up here to 50. Some pretty heavy selling all of a sudden came in, and everything has changed. Right, so anyway, that's what we see here, at least on the order duration filter, okay, of 2 minutes. All right, guys. Well, anyway, we covered that one. Let's jump over to the 6J and see if we can get something more out of it here. Might be kind of tough. Both of those filters, they may not do the trick. Maybe we'll look for order size change. So let's try it. I think we're going to open up to 5 different heat maps in here. We'll create a new one, and now we're going to go with 6J, and we're going to add in a filter orders that were not changed. I really like the not changed filter. It makes really good sense. And then we can say by price or by size. Let's try it and see what it gives us. Yeah, by size, I'm not sure, or duration in here, I'm not sure. Let's just try this one first and let's see what we get. Filtered out a little bit. I mean, you can see some of these areas in here and here a little bit better. It's still not very good though. Boy, maybe we want to see price that was changed in this one, because these guys are pretty consistent. They just stay in these levels in here. So I'm going to close that one. Not helping us much. Let's go back. 6J. And let's add in another Trader Map Pro. Yeah, let's just see what it does by changed. Now, guys, we're able to offer this Trader Map Pro. Now see how we get a completely different view here. Pretty interesting view. And we are able to do this due to the MBO data. This is all about the MBO data. Else we would not be able to filter the heat map like this. It's just not possible. Okay, position in queue, how long the order has been in there, etc. We can capture all of that data. It's pretty amazing. Okay. Orders that were not changed. Well, look at that offer. Yikes. Okay, so I don't know. Does it give me insight yet? Well, I mean, this is really interesting. Yeah, I would look for if we can get some sellers right down at the bottom of the swing here to continue on, and reach not only this swing but maybe even further lower. Okay, so yeah, I'm real curious about that. Yeah, you can see these were not changed, right? This is the behavior we did not want to see in NASDAQ that we actually do want to see in the 6J, at least for this test. Yeah, it's really interesting, Stan. I would suggest playing around with it. I don't know what a good solution is. I haven't found it yet. I don't really look at the 6J very often, to be honest. Yeah, this is kind of fertile ground for experimentation here. Let's go back in here and let's try it again. You can also just change if it was changed by size only. Let's try that. See what this looks like. Wow, interesting stuff. I mean, these are fascinating filters. Okay, look at these huge spreads again in here. Clearly, this is where buyers are going to down here. Okay, around this 007 08 down here. Okay, I mean, clearly, just it's a little bit higher than that, but very consistently larger player pulls that liquidity, adds it up higher, stays in the market for a bit, pulls it, adds it down here, adds it back up, pulls it, etc. I mean, it's got to be the same player. I mean, if we were larger players as well, this is probably exactly how we'd be trading. Okay, I want to put a little bit of risk on. I have an advantage. I have my order in the queue down here. Just move it up. Put it into the best bid. Get filled a little bit. Pull it away. Average in your position over time. I don't know, whatever it is they're doing. That's one possible scenario. Oh yeah, we went all over. You'll have to watch the recording, Crash. Was calling for you earlier. We showed a bunch of different examples with the Trader Map Pro. Yeah, no worries, no worries. It's in the recording, so just go check it out. And good thing about the recording, you can watch it at 2x speed. Okay, so I'll save you like half the time. Okay. Let's see here. We're still looking at look at this, looking pretty good for a breakout here on this NASDAQ. Okay, it's building up again. We had this steep drop on pretty strong sell volume, but we're right back up, and we still see buyers here. I'm looking for it to break now. It's clearly shown us it can auction up here on the buy side. Okay, so let's look for buyers to come up here and break it here. Now they traded into this high liquidity here already, and you can see it sold off down to the bottom of the range here, almost the bottom of the range. Okay, but I'm looking for either two scenarios in here. There's got to be a lot of selling in here that's going to have to move it away from this area, which might happen. Okay. Else I'm looking for a lack of sellers down here, not willing to take this lower. I'm looking for buyers to come in somewhere around in here. Okay. And then for them to bring it right back up here. And then here we've clearly auctioned here. Okay, several times, and there's buyers up here. So if we get that scenario, then we're looking for the breakout. Okay. Now the other scenario is what's starting to play out, but not convinced yet. We can still get these buyers to rotate right back in. Right here, this is actually slowdowns setup. Okay, peaks below, buyers back into the range. Okay, now we're not out of the woods yet. Okay, sellers are still in here. And they might move that market down to our other levels in here. It would be somewhere down here. It retested down here. Now look at our buyers come in. Okay. And we're looking for a little bit of a pullback. Look for one more retest in here. Looking for our buyers right here, around this 26.5. And there we go. All right. So let's see it, buyers. Looking for the move right back up to about 33. And then looking for a potential breakout here. Okay. Just by understanding the structure and the volume within that structure here. Okay, and that this here is tested outside but rejected. Okay, and we see the buying strength starting to come back in. So that's why we're looking for buyers to take it to the other side of the range here. Okay, and we know that it can auction up here. Here's another area where it auctioned previously. And they're not showing up, not yet. I mean, they were showing up in here, and they did break this small structure here. That's a good sign. Okay, let's see one more rotation back in. One of the things that it depends, but one of the things that might be helpful on determining which way is this thing going to break is starting to understand like the trap traders within it. Okay, and also just like the volume pressures in these areas in here. Look, we hit it one more time, doubled back one more time in here, and found a lot of sellers. Okay, so this one's pretty tricky here. In fact, we might get a ton of sellers come in here and move that market lower here. Okay, but we will wait and see here. Anyway, what I was leaning on or leading to is understanding the bigger range in here. Is it starting to shape up into a reversal, or is it starting to shape up into a continuation? Like, strong move, all sorts of back and forth, and then followed by another continuation move higher. So we would talk about that like in the Wyckoff vernacular, it would be more like accumulation, markup period, followed by accumulation and another markup period. Okay. Oh, sellers winning the battle here, taking this lower. Okay. Still I'm not going to try to fight it. I'm just mentioning we know that it auctioned up here. And there's buyers up here. So it's possible it can auction there again. Right? It's not happening now. In fact, we're probably more likely to come back down to some of the swings. Okay, but this move here is not out of the question yet. All right, so let's see. We go over that 6J. Okay, so yeah, here's our 6J with that heat map setting in here. Order change filter again. Okay, so anyway, interesting configurations in here. And like I said, Stan, I don't have anything more for you than that at the moment. All right, let's go back in here. I'm still answering lots of questions in here, and I haven't. I'm sorry, guys, over in YouTube, I have not answered your questions, but I see I'm getting some help from Jack and Rob and Alois. Excellent, thanks, guys. Yeah. Okay, and Donkey Face. Okay, so you're up next. So you had questions about stops and icebergs in here. No problem. Okay, so let's jump in here. Let's see, sure I'm. So you're replying to Jack. Your good hands there. Thank you, Supreme Dream. 63 people or 58 people in here and only 3 likes. Yeah, hit the like button, please. Please, if this is helpful for you. We're covering a lot of different kind of unique products in here due to a lot of questions that people had. Okay, so typically we just come in here and read the order flow. But there were some questions, and this is a really good environment to answer your guys' questions. Right, so that's why I'm covering it, and I always try to do that. Okay, so let's jump over back to the S&P E-mini. We didn't miss anything. In fact, it's just been chopping this entire time. So I don't feel bad whatsoever that we covered these tools. But let's talk about the stops and icebergs. Okay, so now there's lots of configurations for stops and icebergs. Now it was icebergs in particular that Donkey Face was asking about and trying to derive value from them. They can be more challenging, I think, than stops because we don't know what larger players are doing. You know, accumulating, distributing, you know, what time frame, etc. They're just playing a different game than us. Okay, but mostly retail traders are using stops. Okay, to mostly to it's you know, I'm generalizing, but mostly to exit the market, a stop loss. Okay, I mean, I use stops to enter the market all the time. I like it, but I think that especially when we see like a kind of move like this in here, it's a lot of stops being triggered that are exiting the market. All right, so anyway, let's jump in here and take a look now. All right, so now first off, one thing we always mention about any indicator in here in these webinars is these are confluences. They're not signals. And they should not be looked upon as signals. It should be a confluence always. So it's giving you some sort of insight in addition to the behavior you see here in the auction in Bookmap. Okay, so 3 elements on the chart up here: liquidity, price action with best bid and offer, pure price action, no aggregated data, and the volume or transactions on that best bid and offer. Red dots are market sell, green dots are market buy, and the size of the dot tell you how much is trading at those areas. All right, so and it is this context that gives us tremendous insight. And that you can point to and start to understand some of the errors in a lot of the indicators, like cumulative volume delta. You know, a lot of traders look at that. Oh, well, they must be absorbing. True. You might, you know, you probably see areas where there's a lot of absorption taking place or lack of absorption taking place. Like here, this is a pure delta move. These are sellers coming in, hitting the bid. All right, well, then they should be able to hit it lower. There they go. Okay, so you know, we know that there's no one here on the other side of the trade absorbing all of that. Okay, even though we just traded in this high liquidity here, you can see that we'll see absorption here. Okay, here it is absorbing here. It's trading through it. It's not pure absorption, but my point is it's only going down a few ticks, but it's cratering here. Went down from 0 to 1,000, negative 1,000 here on the sell side. All right, so it only went, you know, maybe a point or two, not even that. And then it really picked up as price started to move down as well. Okay, so anyway, I just want to mention that. Now let's jump back into the icebergs and start to understand what's going on. So stops and icebergs, or icebergs in particular, give us insight to what the larger player might be doing. So for example, here is some iceberg buying. Now this makes good sense. Okay, so we just saw the drop into this this area here. We saw now not much iceberg buying. There was actually a lot of iceberg selling in here. Okay, now this is interesting because note how we just traded to that area here now. Okay, so we can actually, there's many different ways to kind of look at and get unique information from icebergs. Where did this happen? It happened here. Okay, let's just mark it up on both sides, vertical as well, right in there someplace. All right, so we know in here that there are a lot of larger players that either they may have exited the market or maybe they just started to sell. Price went against them a lot, but now price is back down, and maybe for them now. Now larger players are playing a different game. They might be able to stay in this and maybe even add more icebergs. We see it all the time. There's more selling of icebergs, etc. Okay, well, let's see here now. If we get down below here, these larger players are in the green, okay, in profit, and we can get some really nice moves. So it's consideration of understanding these little levels in here and who's trading at these levels in here. Right, so let's look for it here. Right, so we're looking for sellers in here. Hit the bid hard. Okay, and move this away from all of this area up in here. And the first stop would probably be down here. We can look for this little node right here. Okay, at well, it just traded into it. Okay, so there we go. That's our first stop, and it's continuing. Okay, down to the swing here. Look at this thing move. Right. So now you know that was an assumption. Okay, of looking at this very particular level and looking for who might be selling below that level. This might be where it's helpful. Okay, donkey face, you can still be a scalper on that, no problem. Anyway, there's just one use case scenario. Now it means as well, sellers are in control. At least, you know, the larger player sellers are in control. Now a retest back up to this area is not out of the question at all. I would look though to see if those sellers reload again. And now here we see some icebergs again, right down here. Okay, so here's another area of iceberg selling. So we'll just kind of mark it up here with a, I think with a dot. It's actually in this little area here. Okay, now it immediately went against them, right? Okay, but this is the critical line here at this 10, 48.10. And now if this is our assumption, I'm looking for these larger players to be on the reloading here on the offer, providing high liquidity in here, and you can see that actually right here. Okay, at this 417 right here. Now that's one large player actually that has about half of that liquidity here at 48.10. No, it wasn't high. This was in real time when we looked for this. It was happening as I was explaining it. But if we had gotten to it earlier, I mean, this happened a long time ago. And if we can get a retest back down here, we're very curious to see if we can get a move through it. Okay. Now, what I'm looking for in real time as well is this little area here. I'm looking for the sellers to reload. Okay. Now, here's the retest back to it. And we'll see. So that their buyers are taking them on. Okay, so I'm doing nothing until I see sellers come back in. But you could you mark it? Okay, well we're going to see in real time here. I mean, I'm really curious. I'm looking for the scenario that we covered in here. I'm looking for sellers below here, and I don't see them yet. We saw that larger player on the offer there at 48.10, and that's it. Okay, look, here's another iceberg now here. Okay, right in here, they're selling. They are selling. Now again, what it doesn't really matter if they're selling or not. It matters is the liquidity, or I'm sorry, the movement after that. So here's it's 48.10 right here. We identified it. Okay. Now we want this is one element within the market. Okay, this is order types within the order flow, and we recognized it. Okay. Now we're looking for the order flow to kind of match the order type. All right, does that make sense? So again, it's not a signal, it's a confluence is what I'm basically trying to say. So let's see here. I'm looking for sellers right here right now. They should be able to drop it down into these areas of liquidity and down to, this is where these guys would be into profit down here. Let's mark that line up too. Okay, so I'm looking for a move right back down into here if we can get these sellers to come in. Okay, we didn't know here anything, just looking for the sellers to start to come in. Now we're getting them. Okay. Now, again, I'm just donkey face. I'm only going through one scenario in here. There are other days when I'll try to find it where you get like 30,000 icebergs trading the S&P. The market drops all day long, but you're just looking at these icebergs. You're just going, oh my God, like you don't see this very often. That can be really, really insightful. Maybe you might want to go over to Scott Pulcini's webinar on Thursdays. He goes through exactly this kind of content. He actually kind of uses it as a signal. He uses it in a different way. It's his kind of signal to take a look at the markets. That's it. He's not buying or selling off of it. It's like it's telling him something that at this point I want to go take a look at the market because this is behavior that interests me. Okay, and that's what's nice about the stops and icebergs. Okay, so anyway, real time. Okay, right around in here. Okay, somewhere around in here, around this 09, 8.5, we're looking for the move down into 05. That has already unfolded. Okay, we're still looking for this to go further. Okay, because we have an understanding of the larger players and where they did reload up here. Okay, not only did they have, and we assumed that, okay, but we had evidence for it. High liquidity and iceberg transactions. Okay. and so far that's been helpful. Okay, so also too, I would, this is the way that I like to manage these types of trades, is take some off down here. Okay, that was my first target. I would take some off, okay, and I would move my stop as well. Well, this is something, a donkey face, I was mentioning in the you want to go over sweeps as well. Okay, yeah, no problem. Yeah, we can go into market pulse too. I mean, this is going to be a whole. In fact, we should go over market pulse. Okay, so this is about. This is quite a webinar. An hour and a half of just going through all these add-ons in here, due to your guys' questions in the Discord, which is fine. It's great. So let's take a look here. I don't know how to like not laugh when I see donkey face. I really don't know. Anyway, look at the buyers come right back in here. Again, this is where I would have taken some profit, right? I would still be in it in here, and I'm not sure how I feel about putting my stop at break even here, to be honest. Okay, if I got in somewhere around in here, I don't know how I feel about it. Here's why. Okay, is because I'm looking for them to reload again up here. Okay, or sometimes they even reload a little bit higher. Okay, so I'm assuming that, or looking for that behavior to repeat if they get the opportunity. So they were getting filled here at this 10 level, and we know that, we verified that. We saw the icebergs, we saw the large liquidity, okay, and we saw the move back down. Okay? So I don't want to get shaken out of a good position if I understand what the behavior is of these players. Okay, so a lot of times what I'll do instead of take the I'll take the profit, and let's just be fair with it. It's something around like this, right? And then if I take that line, we duplicate it. And then I take that and I move it up like this. Okay, I can have my stop up here and still be, and since I already took some off, let's suppose just half, I can still give this a chance to run. Right, so that's a possible consideration. Only based, and the only reason that I would consider that in here is based off of the large selling in here, or larger player selling in here, okay? And that they'll just add more. They don't care, right? Until they get completely filled. You want no heat ever, okay? You laugh when you say it. Okay, all right. Yeah, whatever. Guys, let's move on. Anyway, these are a few use case scenarios to consider. Like I said, some of you guys have probably seen it in Days with Scott as well, where like you see this. If I can find an example, the market just going. Maybe it's going up, 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 and you see this just going down, 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 down with icebergs. I mean, they are selling, and it continues to go against them for almost the entire day, or maybe the entire day. The next day, though, you'll be really surprised to see how price reacts, and rubber band moves the opposite direction as a reaction. Okay? Because can start to understand someone on the other side absorbing. And now it doesn't have to be icebergs either. We've seen days where it just keeps going into high liquidity all the way along as well. And when that happens, it's the same thing. It's just, it's just like any other move that we see on, absorption, and then finally the markets take a pause. There's no more, let's say, no more aggressive buyers, and then the market turns around, okay, and goes the opposite direction. So these are that same idea and concept of absorption and a reversal, just on a much higher time frame. Okay, and you see the same things also with icebergs. Okay? I think those days are really insightful, personally, and without the icebergs I wouldn't feel the same way. Okay, so yeah, it's more kind of, not like a signal, like, oh, here they're selling, like, I should get in. It's more like, okay, what's going on in these areas in here, and if I see sellers starting to come in the order flow or the transactions here, then I would look for that move. Okay, so hope that helps. How are the volume dots formed? It's just the transactions, and we do aggregate them by zoom. Okay, so if I zoom into this area in here, watch what happens. Okay, so it will start to pull apart, and this is actually a book sweep, or this is a stop run in here. Okay, this is a nice one actually. You can see what happened in here. We can turn the stops and icebergs on chart here to get much more insight. And then I want to go over market pulse. Stops and icebergs on chart. It's going to show stops. Okay, so 41. And I want to see the line though as well. Hold on. No, not the chain number. I'll look at the line in here. Show only stop runs. Okay, there we go. All right, so actually this is kind of an interesting one. This is a larger player in here, to me, is what it looks like, lifting the offer, and then within this area in here, there's hundreds of trades that took place, right? Hundreds of transactions, and then here, this is more realistic. Okay, so as they lifted the offer here, this is one event actually that unfolded. And during this event, as this book was swept multiple ticks higher, there are stops within these areas in here that are getting taken for a ride and slipped, basically, and slipped up to here, and then stops begin to transact up here. So there is an order of events that take place by the aggressors as well. Okay, it's not just a queue for the limit orders. Okay, there's a queue or a process for the aggressive orders. If you hit the market buy button for 1,000, then you're going to sweep the order book until you meet 1,000 on the offer in here. If there are any other stops within that move, they will not get filled until your order is filled, and then they will fill. And that's what's happening up here, right? And that's how you get swept or slipped. Okay. So anyway, that's when we turn on the sweeps, you'll see the sweep here as well. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. We came from this high frequency environment, so this kind of details and understanding of market mechanics was really important for us because we're developing algos and we needed to know how they're getting filled and what their performance was. And the only way we could do that was if we can really zoom in and get all these detailed information on exactly what's unfolding. And that's how Bookmap was born. We actually showed that to some other traders, and they said, wow, if you make that into a platform, you would purchase it. And the rest is history. All right, so anyway, we covered all that. I'll go over it. I think I'll just go over in general. For those of you not familiar with the guys, please hit the like button here. I'm only seeing 3 in here. Someone had that comment. There's only 10 in here or something like. Oh, no, now I see there's 21. Never mind. Okay. But 3, I was like, boy, we can do better than that. Let's see here. I want to go over the market pulse tool. This is a really interesting tool as well. Yeah, guys, again, see what we're talking about in here, like about managing due to iceberg transactions in here. I see some other icebergs in here at basically the same level. Price goes a little bit higher. Now look at the offer, and we're below that line now. All we're looking for now is sellers. Okay, we're looking for our red dots. Look at how they're even pulling on the offer, on the bid down here. Just need those sellers, and we should be able to get a move right back down into 07, 06, 05, and then maybe you can break 05. Okay, again, based off of what we had read earlier, right? And this is that consideration of your trade management in here. Now we don't know, but look at the shenanigans kind of going on here, and it's close to the European close as well. So there's going to be some gaming of these areas for sure, right? And if that's the case and you don't know and you're not sure, just then exit, take some profit. It's up to you, but there's other things that are happening in here. If there was no European close coming up, I would be holding this unless I saw something dramatic in here on that buy side. Anyway, yeah, can they take it down to 4,800? Yeah, no problem. I mean, sure, why not? I mean, all of this price action is still below all of this up in here. Basically, it's testing this area here at this 10 level here. Okay, we can even come up to here, 14 or so, and still be bearish in here. And this is where those sellers originally came in and moved this market lower here. We're making up our market structure based off the transactions and the movements and also the liquidity. And in this case, also some of the confluences in larger player activity with the icebergs. All right, guys. I don't want to go. Let's jump back to this market pulse. I think, yeah, I'm gonna clear all the drawings in here. I think no, let's leave them on. I'm just gonna get rid of stops and icebergs on chart. We have a little cleaner chart. All right, market pulse. Now this tool in here is pretty unique in a sense, and that's why we've been covering it a lot. We have like, I don't know, like 5 different algos. Well, it's actually double that. It's like 10 different algos in here. Hold on a minute here. The algos in here, some of them run off of other indicators, which is really interesting. So it's kind of a unique direction that we're taking now. So for example, here, the sweeps indicator, I have sweeps already, as you'll see here, loaded on this chart, okay, the S&P E-mini. We have a market pulse tool that will read the sweeps and then give you an audio alert and an alert based off of the sweeps indicator. So it's an indicator based off of the indicator. Let's play it here and let's see what we get. Okay. Yeah, so we're seeing the buyers come in here, and yeah, at this point here, would have been stopped out, full stop for either all of it, uh, or maybe I would have taken my profit up, in here after seeing that, yeah, this isn't really playing out the way I want to play out, and we got the market close, European close coming up. I'm out. Okay, I took some, then I'm out for a little bit on a loss. That's that. Look for the next one. All right. Anyway, the sweeps indicator. Let's cover that, or market pulse. Very, very simple indicator for market pulse, at least, and it is showing you over the last 5 minutes of sweeps data, the output in this percentage meter here. And we can see when it starts to kind of pump, with more sweeps on one side or the other. Okay, so we saw a sweep here that I think we covered in detail, and that was that 41 that we saw swept here, and then that were actually stops. Okay, so a sweep is not necessarily a stop. God, I forget what Scott always says, but a book sweep, like we said, could be market market sell or market buy that sweeps the order book. It doesn't have to be a stop. It's likely to have stops in there, but we don't know unless we have the MBO data, okay, and the stops indicator. All right, so yeah, we did mark up this line in here. Okay, a retest back up into here. I have to turn on icebergs again before we leave and see what happens up here, because it's a pretty interesting move. Anyway, this want to cover this in general. This tool, there are many algos that you can use, and they showed very different things in here. So if we come back in here and I click on the drop down here for select algo, we can go over them. Absorption pressure imbalance, okay, and liquidation pressure, which is liquidations in the crypto markets. It only works for crypto. We have order book pressure imbalance. They're very similar, the pressure imbalance and pressure. I'll show you with sweeps here in a minute. We have price change, which is a good one. This one's free and open to all. We have spread change. We have the sweeps pressure and sweeps pressure imbalance, and volume pressure imbalance. Okay, this one we've had a lot of content built or people made already. It was the first one that we had. It's one of the best. We're covering these other ones though, and we saw some really good stuff last time we covered absorption and sweep, so we'll look for it again. Now let's open up another one in here on the sweeps pressure, and I'll click play, and I'll show you the difference between the two. Oh, that's volume pressure. I'm sorry. I'm still looking for, I know below this 10, there was a lot of icebergs in here, so I'm looking for sellers below 10 still. And if we get them, this move, I mean, we're still bearish here, right? We talked about it. We can be bearish all the way up to here, and that's exactly where it went. But I'm really looking for the momentum below 10, okay, or below here, our line, which is, I think, yeah, it is 10. I don't see it yet, right? But if we get that, I'm looking for 5 pretty quickly, and then lower. Okay, the figure down at 48, 800. Sweeps pressure. That's it. Play. Okay. All right, so let's see here. So note the output is different. That's sweeps pressure is we don't have it yet because we don't have too many sweeps yet. We've actually what we could do to get more is come back to the sweeps indicator here and then lower this number. So remember, it's an indicator based off of an indicator. So here, if we lower this down to like 50 with 2 price levels, okay, sweeps are going to show here within 0.01 seconds, 50 that traded, and over at least 2 price levels. So now we're going to close it, and we should get it's loading different those new parameters in here, and we're going to see a lot more sweeps in here. Okay, so we had some buy sweeps here, a sell sweep here. Interesting. Okay, it's still, we're still finding some sort of support here off of 10. Okay, so I wouldn't be engaged in it yet. I'm still looking for sellers below 10 if we get it. So anyway, the output here is the imbalance. This is buy minus sell. So here we have buying and selling. Okay, we have the selling sweeps and the buying sweeps here. Okay, we have 2 outputs. Here instead, we have 1 output, which is the imbalance. Buy minus sell. It just takes these 2 and combines it into this one here. Now that's why we're showing it. We have both of them in here. Okay, because let's just make a distinction here between the 2. So you might get massive transactions. Like we're coming up on the European close. We'll probably see buying and selling pick up on sweeps, both sides. Okay? And you might get swings in here with the buying and selling sweep in here. But the imbalance one is going to negate those because it's going to be buy minus sell. So they will equal out, and we will not get any extreme readings in here, where we may get them here, right? And that's why we offer 2 for each algo typically. This is the most useful stream ever. Well, we hold these all the time. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then on what? I'm sorry, every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. Wednesday we have JTrader going over stocks, and Thursday we have Scott Pulcini going over futures. For your icebergs and sweeps and stops, I would suggest going to that and checking out Scott Pulcini. All right. Yeah, I'm going to close these here. We're not getting too many readings out of this right now. We probably will actually in just a minute. It's just about to sweep higher here, it looks like. I'm the Bookmap teacher. Yeah, we're going to close these for now because I want to show you, and we're going to go over these in general here. There's a lot of things like to kind of cover in general about this market pulse tool. And why we continue to cover it, because there's a lot to cover yet, and all these different algos, like people are they're playing with them and finding some value, and the more we cover, the more you guys are going to find some sort of value out of it. Start marking up your charts, start looking at some of these and deriving some value from it. That was something that I noted, Donkey Face, where you were saying I went through 30 hours of material in different videos and reading the knowledge base and whatever. That's good, it's too bad you said you didn't find much use from it, and then studying the market along with it, and that's not so good. therefore, I would suggest you may want to join oh, look at this. We have our sale here. We just launched that. You guys want to take advantage of this in here. It's 30% off of our annual subscription. Okay, so yeah, it's starts in 3 days. Sale starts in 3 days. Okay, so yeah, look into the details here. Anyway, you can, from what I understand, what you can do too is if you just got the Black Friday bookmap version, and you want to get and take advantage of this annual version, you can still do the same thing, and we will what is it called, prorate all of your like a couple months worth back onto this subscription here, right? So good stuff on that, which is nice. So you'll be able to save and take advantage of this if you got the 3-month version. We'll prorate it for you. Anyway, let's go over this here. Go to the Bookmap Academy in here, and this is where, like, I think maybe we can help with your learning and your journaling and documentation of your trading activity, or at least your analysis, and you can get credit for it basically. So instead of just watching videos and maybe scribbling a few notes or something, you can come back in here and then look very specifically at some of these events and say, I saw this in icebergs, I saw that in stops, and mark it up on your chart. Okay, so you've seen everyone doing this in that Bookmap Academy chat room, as well as this all markets room in here. Like here's slowdown that we covered earlier today. Okay, and I mean, it's amazing. I kind of can't believe it. Like how here I'll have a better example. How he took and found. Look at how clean and clear this is. He knows exactly what he's looking for, and he came through this this process in here through the academy. Let me show you something that he had marked up for us. A minute. This was for feedback. He's a coach now in Bookmap Academy. You guys know. And then he wanted to get this across about his progression. He started off looking at charts and marking them up like this. It's pretty messy. There's a lot going on in here, but this is part of the process. Okay, so you start to mark up your charts, and then this was back in May of 2023, and then a few months later, 3 months later, this is his chart now, and what he's marking up. He's filtered, he's refined, he's focused. He's looking at very specific things in here, starting to note what's going on in here. Okay, and then now he's taking it further. Okay, that was July, and then a handful of months later after that, 3 months later after that. Here we go with October. Okay, and now he's got something very specific. And look how many markups he has here. He has a little explanation, but he has his own diagram. He knows exactly what that looks like in the real market, in real time, or not. Maybe it's in post, but in this case, he actually took a trade right here. It's documented. It matches precisely. This is fantastic. And he takes his partial profit here, looking for a full profit up here. Right? So this Academy program is something you might want to take a look into and join. I'll put it into the chat for you. And you guys can, it's up to you. All right. But we're going to start 2024 off with a bang and try to do these coaching events every week. We open the mic and you guys can chat. Okay, ask questions about the feedback you're getting. Hold a hand through the spreadsheet. That's what I mean. The coaches are there for. It's really simple. Just mark up your chart. Go to your spreadsheet or post it. Okay. So let's go to Discord again. Okay. Over here, post it. Just mark up. Just start with something. Just say like high liquidity up here. Just do something. Just get the your foot in the door. High liquidity up here. High liquidity down here. Okay. High liquidity up here transacts. Right. Something like that. And aggressors, go after that high liquidity. It's like a magnet in this case up here. So you can start with something simple. Then just post it in here. And then all you need to do is go over to your post, right click on it, and then copy the link, message link right here. Or I'm sorry, you left click on the three dots here. And then just copy it and paste it right into your spreadsheet. That's it. Okay. Anyway, go to that Academy page and read the benefits. You can get Bookmap for free if you start to meet some of the thresholds in there. All right. Yeah, we think it's just a win-win, and we're really trying to help you. A lot of the guys in here are partaking in it already, and they're really doing great. Okay. Stan, Steven, Trader HE, Crash. Sorry guys if I don't mention all of you. Anyway, there's a bunch in here. Stan's another coach. All right. Anyway, guys, I'm sorry. I wanted to go through that market pulse a little bit more. We'll have to leave it at that until next week, after Christmas. So I'll leave it at that. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, everybody. Have a great holiday, and we will be back later in the week. We will not be streaming on the 25th and the 26th at all, right? So we're taking those days off, and then we will be back on the 27th, 28th, and 29th, though. All right, and then January 1st and 2nd we will also be off, no streaming. Okay, so yeah, thanks for coming, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you next week.